Hello everybody, it is Mike Levin on Thursday, February 11th, 2021. And when last we left off, I had just done this, which is to install the native version of Python on Windows through the command prompt by just typing Python. It's a really solid way to go, and it does give you Python in one of these. There's the interactive command console. And there is Hello World in that environment. And on this video, I had actually planned or promised to do this part. However, before I get to that, I want to do the next item in my to-do list, which is to demonstrate Levinux and talk about different software repo systems that are built into versions of Linux and why that's so important with what we're doing. Anaconda has its own repo version called Conda. And we'll get to that soon. And really, it's the Ubuntu repo system we want to be on here. But in order to do that, you need to understand a little bit why this yellow box is not yellow. This magenta or purple box is so different from the other two approaches to Python. These two up here, even though they're in separate boxes, they really are running native to Windows. They're running on Windows 10 operating system. However, this one down here, not so much. That is a different operating system there entirely. And when you run that version of Python, Python is running on Linux. It's not running on Windows. And you typically interact with this type of system down here with those types of prompts that you saw me just use for the Windows side, but we're going to get one of those prompts on the Linux side. And one of the best ways to get introduced to that is through Levinux, to just understand what that world is. And it's one of my favorite things to do when I move to a new laptop, to make sure that Levinux, my sort of own spin of Linux, is still running on all the different hardware that's out there. So you just go to whatever your favorite search engine is and you type Levinux, and it'll be the first thing that comes up. Face your fear of headless Linux or server Linux. And here it is in the GitHub site. And so you could download a zip file. This is one way to do it. Drops it into your download directory. You can see it's at about 15 megabytes now. I do believe the full download is about 20 megabytes. It's a whole version of Linux sitting in there. And a lot more that you don't even really need. Now there's a lot that can and does go wrong in this process. So I'll do it along with you and you'll see for yourself how I deal with it. Maybe do the same, and the ability to overcome little challenges that face you is a prerequisite to doing this old school type in terminal stuff. So rest assured that the next demo coming up on how to do this all with the Anaconda install is very easy. It's designed for the noob in mind. So this is the archive. I'm clicking into the uncompressed archive now. I'm double checking that fact from right out of my downloads directory. And then there's going to be some different files here, and you click the one based on your operating system. If you're on a Mac, that would actually be a Mac icon that you would click. If you are on Linux, this would be your choice, and we're on Windows. So we double click this. There's always some security context now, so we tell it it's okay to open. We allow access to the network. And here we go. This is the very first time Levinux is being run, download and run on this, my new laptop. So, you know, you cross your fingers and hope. And it disappeared. That's one of the things that does go wrong sometimes. I'm not sure what causes that. This is based on some binaries in the download world that have been around forever, old, established, highly compatible QEMU binaries, a version of TinyCore that I have not updated in a while. There's newer versions of TinyCore out there, but you know, this is working. 80-20 rule success. See there on the second run. And I set it up as this kind of like little Alice in Wonderland thing. So you've got this little black box here, which is a server. And to prove that to you, you can read and follow the instructions here. It plays a little bit like a game. But the main thing that I guess you want to do is to SSH into this, right? Because it's a server you can reach remotely. You can first satisfy yourself that it's running by going to http://localhost 8080. And if a website is served there, you know this is running. So that's my journal over there on this window. That's my drawing over there. So I guess this is where I normally do my web server, or my it is a web server, and so slip is I usually do my web browser. So I bring that up, but I don't want these hidden, you know, on top of each other. So I'll just drop Levinux over here on this window, and then I'll just go 2 to the right to see that. Well, it looks like it might be 3 to the right. What do I have there? Oh yeah, that's where we had this version running. So I'm gonna get rid of that shading. No, I'll keep the shading. That's pretty. Okay, so we go to http://localhost 80 8080. Enter. Oh, I typed it in wrong. There's no way that should have done a search. I put a space in there. That's what I did. Is the video still good? The video is still good. So you can see this little web page here is being served off of this little machine here. You doubt me? I'll bring it momentarily back over here, and if I close this box and do a refresh, you can see it's trying to load. Can't reach this page, it's gone. Well, I go back into my downloads folder. Go into Levinux, hit the Windows one, and on the first time, the server was actually built on subsequent loads, all that stuff that ran past doesn't actually run past again. It just uncompresses a image. Bippity boppity boo. Hello again to the server. Looks a little weird. The yellow type is gone up there. But I'll move that there. I'll do a refresh here, and you'll see that the little website is back. That's Levinux. So it gives instructions on how to remote log in to that little box over there. And I teach you how to download PuTTY, the ubiquitous program on the web for getting a little terminal capability locally. But really, Windows has been working so hard on this sort of stuff that there's a very good chance, in fact, I could recycle this guy here. There's a very good chance that the standard command prompt, and remember, this is just a plain old command prompt, I say, and I recycle it, but show you what that is. That's when you go in over here and you start typing command. You bring up that old DOS prompt, essentially. So I am going to type SSH, enter. And look, there's a program there, usage. So there's an SSH program just built in to Windows now. Can you believe it? It would have been so nice over the years to have SSH just included with Windows and spare us all the grief of having to round up PuTTY and other terminal programs. But anyway, it's here now today, so we should use it. Microsoft is catching up finally with best-of-breed old-school tools included for free with their operating system. So it's SSH, and the rest of the instructions you can generally find here, or I give a little bit of it right on the Levinux interface itself. You can see SSH TC at localhost port 2222. And it also tells you the password is foo. You got to remember that. It's the most frequently asked question. So that's SSH TC for TinyCore. User is TinyCore at localhost, the name of your machine when you're on your own machine and using server-like services on it. That's the shortcut notation for that. -P for port 2222. Now this might get right in with an easy challenge, but this is a new state of the internet right now because SHA-1 is so untrusted. And to get around this, play it like a game here. Okay, you copy that. Even just copying out of command prompts is a challenge. You go to a web browser, you search on that, and it's going to tell you right off the bat in one of those high answers about how to modify your SSH statement to deal with this issue. SSH, and then this annoying long thing before the rest of the command. Right, that, and that'll fix it. Are you sure? Yes. And what is the password? Remember, looking at the front, the Levinux screen here, it's foo. Foo. And there you are logged in. You are now logged in through this old school way to this tiny little server sitting, just on your desktop over here. If I were to close that login would go away, but I don't particularly want to do that right now. And it starts like a game. And you can do different things here. But if you know any Linux commands at all, you can try them out. ls, see what's in that directory. And you can see, it's set up like that Alice in Wonderland adventure. You can just type /drinkme.sh and see what happens. But I'll leave that up to you. I think I have taken this far enough. And in fact, I will do that demonstration with SSH the same way I did with the web browser. You'll recall when I closed out of this, the web page over here went away, as it will again, but now it's providing two services, not just a little bit of lightweight web serving services for this page. It also is providing SSH login services for over here. And what I often do is I actually edit the HTML here to let you see the change occur on this page, but that's in my YouTube channel enough. I've done that plenty. I'm just going to show you over here that if I were to do a command like an ls, it's still working, it's still alive. I bring that Levinux thing to the front. I close out of it, and there, connection reset. See? So little server, little bit of old school where you can do no damage. It's just there, you know, if you do a bunch of stuff and you want to get Levinux back to its original state, you just go back into that download directory or wherever you have it sitting. And instead of clicking this VBS file here to start it, you can go into this reset directory and you can find the reset on Windows. You click that. It might challenge you on allowing it to do it. It only gives you the choice of don't use. It's probably right click, open. As administrator would certainly work, but there's going to be a trick here to let that run. But when you run that batch file, it'll reset Levinux back to its original state. You can always re-download it. It's based on Tiny Core Linux, which is dubbed as a immutable nomadic version of Linux. Immutable in that its image cannot be changed. You cannot corrupt the thing. It runs out of memory. You can't even corrupt the operating system files while it's running. And I really encourage you to check it out and to have at least a little taste of this magical world down here that will be the third path to Python I teach you how to do on the Windows platform. The third and the best. Really, this is what it's about. That's the culmination of this series of videos. I've already shown you this version, and the next version will be this as promised, which is really the best way to get started, even though it might not be your best long-term way. It's the best way to feel out your code and to do experimental work before you move it over here for its end-to-end automation. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you again soon, and don't forget to subscribe.